We're going live on YouTube. We're going to discuss a few things. I'm going to show y'all some of the weekly setups we got coming up this week. Plus, we got FOMC meeting, a couple stocks with earnings coming up. Hold on, let me pull up the chat so I can keep you on the side here. All right, you all ready to get into this? Let me pull up my screen here and pull up Barchart. We're going to go over some setups you all should watch this week. Share screen, bar chart. Here we go. Let's see, is this share? There we go. Okay, I hope you all can see my screen. Let's get active. Okay, let me blow this up really quick. If you got any questions, got any charts you want to pull up, drop them in the comments. As always, smash that like button. I appreciate y'all's support as always, man. Don't forget to drop me a like. And always share this with your friends. If you learn something, make sure you share the knowledge. All right, let's pull this stuff up. Let's get active. Okay, so this week we got FOMC meeting. Now, if you want to keep up with these things that are going on, I like the economic calendar here under futures. Click on that. And then you can kind of see, all right, we got a couple things here, nothing too major here. FOMC meetings, right? This is what we're looking for here. 2 p.m., 2:30 is when Jay Powell is going to speak. So this is in Eastern time as well. So definitely pay attention to the calendars here. You got jobless claims that'll let us know how much unemployment is going up or down. Right. So pay attention to these things, but Wednesday is a huge day in the market. Okay. So keep an eye on that. If we actually look at the S&P 500, I'll actually pull up because I usually chart the FOMC meetings. Yeah. So right now, let's make this a little bigger. Let me make sure it's still showing this screen. Hold on one second. Need to make sure it's still on YouTube showing this. YouTube, we're gonna hold on one second, y'all. Okay, I just need to make sure it's still showing. No, it's still. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, y'all can see the full screen chart. Okay, here we go. Okay, so check out this full screen chart here. All right, so let's see. I got the past FOMC meetings here. That's back in oh wow, this is back in 2014. So we had a real big move. Had a lot more action in 2014. This was the election actually that gapped us up here. And then so you can see once the FOMC meeting came around, whatever momentum we had before that, the market had clarity on the FOMC and kept that momentum going. Now, after that, we had a little bit of a trend change. Okay. Same thing here. The market kind of had, we had literally like a cross here in these moving averages here, which was going to lead to some bearish momentum, right? We're already oversold on the, or overbought on the RSI on the index here. So as the market's pulling back into the FOMC meeting, right? Let's actually see what traders are, option traders are trading. I like the put call ratio. So let me add that to the chart as well. So that way we can see what were option traders trading. So it looks like, all right, so as we're coming into this meeting, looks like more calls were traded, which continued higher here, okay? Now, we came into this next meeting, looks like, man, the market dropped off, but like I said, going into this meeting, it was going to be bearish. Sent it into that bearish motion, right? But then you had a reversal of that trend, okay? Meeting here, we were coming into it bullish, continued a little higher after that and reversed, okay? So really what I'm trying to get at is, even here, this is another meeting here where we were coming into the meeting bullish, had the meeting, got some clarity, continue higher, even gapped up here, okay? So what I'm really noticing is that whatever trend is going into it, it seems to continue, but then reverse, okay? Which kind of makes sense with the way the market's looking. Okay, so when you look at moving averages, we've reclaimed our let's see here, this is our 50 or 20. So we reclaimed our 20, we reclaimed our 50. We're trying to head back to our 200 here. Okay, so what I'm assuming could be happening, we continue this momentum. Now we have been on a really crazy streak here, so expect a little bit of pullback soon because this is a historic run here. This is like 10 or 9-day winning streak here, which is one of the most, it's like the longest winning streak in over 20 years for the market. Okay. So with that being said, we can expect a pullback coming into this. All right. So keep this on watch. Like I said, FOMC meeting is Wednesday. So maybe that could be that catalyst that says, hey, we're going to run into this wall here at the 200, maybe even the 100, and get some rejection. So keep this on watch here. I think it is significant if we place a little bit of like where we got support here, right? So we had support here in the, this was resistance in the past here. So let's move it down a little bit. We got resistance from here, right? Then we gapped up over this, came back, touched our, what's this, the 100-day moving average. And then kind of kept, we've been holding up that 100 moving day average for a while, but then once we broke it, bam, broke the 200, and nothing good after the 200 happens. Once you break the 200 and you reject it, then the tariffs came, sent the market even lower. But you can see here we got a lot of buying and demand in this area that we've seen in the past. Okay, so the market literally bounced off of where we were in the past and recovered from all those losses that we got from Liberation Day. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's say here, we'll put a little mark here to say that around this 200, looks like we'll get some rejections. So, and once you see where I placed that line, right? And look at this, we had some support around it here. We had some resistance from the past as well. So keep this on watch. Let's see, this level is 5750 for the S&P 500 on the 200. So keep that on watch. I can definitely see some resistance there, especially with FOMC. Maybe we'll get, maybe even get some liquidity grabs up to this level at the 100, which is sitting at, let me move this over, 50, let's say 5,800. So we'll have a lot of selling pressure here if the market gets here. So pay attention to that if we run into that. All right. So let me close this. All right. And let's go back to our window here. Let me check the chat, make sure I don't have any questions. Remember, you can drop your tickers anytime you have any questions as well. Drop them in the chat, and I'll make sure if you want to learn anything about what I'm going over, or if you need any links, I can send them to you. Okay. So the next thing I want to go over is earnings. Now that we kind of looked at the market, got a gauge for what's going on with the market, let's go over to find out what is coming up for earnings. So we can click on the stocks tab and go to earnings within 7 days. Okay. Now, you can adjust this list. Maybe you want it within the next few days. Maybe you want it within the month, right? 30 trading days. So 21 trading days is actually a month. 30 is a little over a month because, right, we're not counting weekends. So for the sake of this example, we're going to look for stuff coming up with earnings in the next week. Okay. So there's a couple of ways that you can adjust this. You can look in terms of the latest earnings coming up. We can also, if you want to screen this list, you can narrow it down based on market cap, beta, RSI, fundamentals, technicals, literally all kinds of stuff, indicators, all kinds of stuff. Okay. So we can screen this list. I've showed you how to do that on other videos. Not going to go too far into that because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I will show you a little bit, maybe how to set up alerts around earnings. How about that? So for the sake of this, though, to just kind of speed this up, we have earnings within the next 7 days. So let's see who's got the most trading volume. I always say volume is one of the best indicators you can ever have, because a lot of people are like, oh, man, you should take a look at this stock. And if there's no volume, that means there's nobody trading, right? And large amounts of volume can signal institutional movement as well. All right. So it looks like the largest amount of volume with stocks coming up with earnings is Freight Technologies, Palantir, Plug, Ford, Rigetti, this is Quantum, Gold Stocks, Super Micro, D-Wave, more Quantum, okay? So we got AMD coming up on the 6th as well. So what's the 6th? That's Tuesday. Wow, a lot of great names in here. IONQ on the 7th, a lot of great names. So with that being said, since there's a lot of great names in here, we already know that these are the high volume ones. Now we can narrow this down by market cap and look for a particular market cap to, sort of filter out the smaller names. But you can you can click here and do that. So let's say we wanted to screen by, market cap. We can do that by clicking screen here. But for the sake of this, I want to keep it moving. We're going to go to Flipchart so we can just go ahead and look at the charts. Because I think one of the cool things about getting ready for the week is coming in and doing some charting. Okay, now Barchart, you can come in here and click templates so you can adjust whatever your chart looks like. I'll show you the crossover with let's do this one. Now some of these don't have options, so I won't see this option open interest thing. So let's go to Palantir and we'll see here. Okay, so with Palantir here, I like charting Palantir. I just like watching it just so I can kind of gauge what's going on. So I like to come in here and do some charting, but I've already charted Palantir. Well, it looks like Palantir right now, Palantir has got a double top. Okay, coming into earnings, right? So we got earnings coming up, coming into a double top. Put call ratio is increasing rapidly as the stock moves higher, okay, which means that there's more bearish traders coming into the market, okay, and they're holding these positions with earnings coming up. So now if we add earnings to the chart here, we can see that around earnings, it makes some significant moves, right? So we've had some gap ups in the past. By the way, there's a gap from the past here down at let's see, $48. Okay, so at some point, Palantir may have to pull on back to 48. I remember I told people about this gap at 85 bucks, or let me see what price it is. Yeah, at 85 bucks. Because I remember posting about this, and a lot of people were like, dude, it's not going to go back to $85. They were like, it's that post went very well, or that aged well, and it kept going high. And I was like, gaps will fill. Sometimes it could take a year to fill a gap. They will fill. Over 90-something% of gaps will fill. So now I'm not going to argue with this about this, but keep this on watch because it's down here. So keep this on watch as well, because a lot of bears are stepping in and saying, hey, I'm going to be bearish here, but we do have a wall here that looks like 125. Okay, so keep that on watch. But I like to use these types of lists to kind of go in. You can click the names up here, the tickers. Just go in and do some charting. We can see here based on some support we had in the past here. We are literally at this wall. So a lot of these stocks are literally sitting at sort of past support levels, which essentially could be resistance now, right? Because you had a lot of these bearish crossovers on the moving averages. But right now, if we zoom in, let's say we zoom in right here. Oh, undo that and then let's zoom in. That's a little too much. Hold on, let me zoom back out and then we'll kind of take a look at this moving average here. So let's take these off the chart so you can see it. So you can see that Rigetti has recovered these moving averages, and right now it closed above its 100-day moving average. Okay, so Rigetti is showing some signs to say that I want to retest maybe some. I mean, it's got a gap here. There's a gap that still has yet to be closed. So I'll actually create a box here. So maybe in the future, when we come back and watch this video, we'll see what happened here. Okay, so we got earnings coming up, and we can see that it does start some significant trends around there. So we have reclaimed our moving averages. So keep Rigetti on watch. Let's see another one. We got Mara, if you like crypto stocks. HIMS, I've been hearing a lot about HIMS. And it's been getting a lot of momentum. Look at this, just a strong gap up here. And then a reclaiming of these moving averages. So, HIMS is also, the only reason why I've been hearing a lot about this because it comes up on a lot of volume list. So anytime I go to look and see, hey, where's the volume in the market, HIMS and hers keeps popping up. So keep that on watch. SMCI is coming up. This is one that full disclosure. Also, none of this is financial advice. Okay, I'm just a cool dude walking you all through how I kind of look at the market. All right. But this is something that I do hold, but I bought it down here at 18. So this was when it kind of dropped down here and everybody was giving up on it. But I'm down here, so I'm not really worried about anything here. But right now, it's so crazy how a lot of stocks are at these critical levels of like make or break, right? So we do have a reclaiming of our 20-day moving average here. So on a short-term level, you could see some action here. But this is another stock that has earnings coming up. So there's going to be some movement coming. So keep that on watch. QBTS, D-Wave, Quantum. Look at D-Wave. Solid candle here above all these moving averages, reclaiming that. So keep that on watch. It did see a little bit of volume kick up in here as well. I saw D-Wave on the volume the other day. So keep that on watch. AMD, another stock I like. Man, this stock has been getting beat up, but look at all this volume down here. Look at that. Historic levels of volume. Basically buying every dip that everybody thought was the dip. Like they bought this one heavy, ended up not being it, right? They were a little scared on this one, but bought it anyway. It went up. Got a little scared, but stepped in heavy right here. Look at this solid candle. That's a 23% day. Wow. Reclaiming the 20, reclaim the 50. Let's see if it reclaimed this 50. Hold on. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, we closed above the 50, you know? So keep this on watch. I really like the stock long term. I think this is going to be one of a sleeper, you know, but this 50 could also be some resistance. Okay, so keep this on watch. Uber's a name that I was screaming to the top of my lungs when it was below 60. I like this stock. But another stock that's at that level where it's like we also have been having some historic runs, and maybe it's that time. So we had some highs here. We broke above it, came back below it, rejected here. Now we've broken above it. Could Uber continue this run here? Let's see what options traders are doing. All right. So let's see. They're betting against it. They're like, we ain't staying up there. They're like, we've been here before. We gapped up here, came right back to close that gap, and then gap down again. And then later close that gap, right? That's why I said a lot of times gaps do get filled. So even a gap down here literally got closed with this 11% day here. Okay. So keep these stocks on watch. Let's see, Kim V. What you think about PayPal and Tim's? Trump's also dropped 100% tariffs on foreign media companies. Nice. Okay, so PayPal, do they have earnings coming up or something? Let's take a look at it. PayPal, I actually like PayPal. I was buying PayPal when it was in the 50s and 60s, and it came back down. I didn't buy it again, but I'm holding it long term. I like PayPal. Let's pull up, like I said, I like to watch the put call ratio, you know. So we got earnings. Earnings just actually passed. So we're past earnings. Looks like you know, not a lot of action going on in the options market here. Let's look at the volume graph here. We can see a lot of open interest in the 620 strike. So June, we got a lot of, and January is extremely bullish here. Another bullish on open interest here. So everybody seems to, even the call volume is still, you know, high on these versus the puts. Looks like for March, they have more call or put volume, but still open interest is high in calls. I mean, look at all this. These are low numbers, right? That means that a lot of people are holding calls for the future. 144,000 call contracts being held for leaps on PayPal. You know, everybody's like, and then like, let's say you want to know the price, right? So we know that for long term, people are bullish. Short term, it looks like they're quite bearish, right? They're a little almost even here. They're not very much, but once we get into a little more time, it seems like more people are very much more bullish on this than bearish. Okay. And we can see here that the stock has been down from some highs. Okay. So we just had earnings, so we got some clarity here. Yeah, I would keep this on watch. I like this stock. But let's say you want to look at what are people expecting on the leaps. Okay. So what price range are people expecting? Now, if you're an options trader, you can come here and say, hey, I want to look at the 116 expiration date. And I like to do these side by side so you can see the calls versus the puts, and then turn on the volume graph. this is where we can see where are these people trading contracts. Now we can say let's do 50 strike prices. So the current price is here. So it looks like calls are being held around, majority of them are about right here at the 65. So people are kind of saying that, hey, I'm gonna buy a call from here, and whatever we going up to now, I want them at this price, right? So people aren't really buy. Oh, this is the put side. Excuse me. So puts are essentially in the money or near the money, essentially. So saying that if these people had held these contracts from when they bought them, when they thought PayPal was going to drop, they're essentially going to potentially be selling now that they've reached, their price. But keep this on watch. But we can see that most of the call open interest is here at 100, which is kind of a psychological level, right? I mean, the stock has been above 100. I mean, like, stock is no stranger to, let's actually look at the price, okay? So for the sake of this, we see that people want the price to go around 100 or 95. That's where a lot of the open interest is. We got 90, 95, and 100. And then the puts are being held here at 65, okay? So let's go look at the chart, interactive chart here for PayPal. If y'all got any questions, is this stuff making sense? You guys following along here? Drop a 1 if it's making sense. Drop a 2 if you're just completely lost and I'm talking too fast. Okay, so let's see here. We got a gap here. One thing at 85, we got a gap. Okay, that's one thing we know for sure. And the bottom of that gap, which is probably going to be the easiest thing to reach, is about 82. Okay, so this gap here, told y'all about gaps now. I ain't going to say nothing else. All right, now we can see that there's a lot of puts being held. Not a lot of puts, but there was a lot of puts here, right? More than usual. It's not a lot. It was like, it's just saying that people held puts, but it's not more puts than calls per se, because the number is still way below 1-to-1. Okay, so that means that more people were buying puts as the price kind of consolidated here. And then boom, those puts freaking got paid out. And they were like, okay, I'm selling. So you had a lot of these puts leaving their positions, but then as the market as they started to see, maybe the stock will fall even more, they came back into these positions. Boom, puts are going down. I mean, when the stock price is going down, puts are being held. Okay. So then you can see here as the stock price started to climb, people saw more weakness, started entering more puts. Okay. Stock price drove back down. People came out of these puts and started buying more calls here. Okay. So they're buying calls in this area, but they're getting a little more bearish. Okay. So like I said, the market has had some historic runs right now, and a lot of these stocks are at critical levels. So if we put a mark here on this level where we had gotten a lot of support. And then if we see, look at back, this is why I always say, if you don't want to know where a stock is going, just look left. Just look left. I literally just put that right there based on what was happening now. And look how relevant that is to the past. On the dot. That's why I say none of this is, like, people be like, oh, I'm going to look at what's on the 5 minute, the 10 minute, the 1 hour, all that. The stock, the market is going to the daily charts or the weeklies, right? I mean, if I looked on the weekly for these things, it's even more. Let me go to full screen here. So let me take the open interest off as well. So we can see here that even on the weekly, like if price is stopping there for weeks on end, that's critical. That's critical. For weeks, price could not go above this exact line, right? And then once it broke over, bow, off to the races, right? Now we're here again, and we're coming out of an oversold territory on RSI. So PayPal is looking pretty sweet here. I mean, we saw what happened last time we were here, and we're past earnings, right? So, hey, I'm just saying it did recover the 50, got a strong close above the 50. We're right on that line. We're literally on that line trying to knock on that door. So if PayPal pushes over 67 and we can get a close over 69 to 70, Let's call this a little range right here. Let's give it a little range. Let's put 70 right here. So, man, we're going to get a little squeeze and maybe some consolidation because it ain't going to happen like that, right? Sometimes you get in this little area and you got to go sideways for a minute, right? And then it makes a decision. Some folks thought it was a breakout. This is why I don't like breakout traders, because I got a homie that does breakout trading. This is why I don't like breakout trading. Price consolidated here, came out of oversold, and you're thinking, oh my God, we could do a breakout. And then blah, 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 stop loss hit. God forbid you bought more contracts. Right. So I don't do breakout trading. So I don't like if I was if you want to be bullish here, I'm not looking for a breakout trade here. I'm holding stocks from buying them down here. Right. I buy extremes. Right. If I want to come in and want to be bearish against a stock, actually Palantir is probably a better look at how I trade bearish, because I was really right on about Palantir. So like I saw this gap down here and I was like, it's got to close. And as it got up here, I was like, you're so overbought that the only people buying is the financially illiterate. That's why people are like, nah, man, it's going to keep going. Nah, analysts are saying it's going to keep going. And I'm literally, and I'm not even arguing with people in the comments, but people are arguing with me in the comments. They're saying, you're wrong. Stock keeps hitting new highs. And they're like, oh, that post, it didn't age well. And I was like, see, and it took a minute now. It took a minute, after I posted it, maybe I posted it here and I was like, hey, we're overbought and it's only a matter of time before this thing gets cooked. And it did this evening star here. And I was like, hey, that's a bearish candle, right? And then it went to new highs. And I was like, but still, it's only a matter of time. So if you're trading options and you look for setups like this, it's only a matter of time. So it could see a breakout here, right? Because it's got room. We've seen it break above these levels and continue higher, right? So I'm not saying be bearish on the stock. I'm just saying, like, there are certain times when you can see things coming in the market and trade them accordingly. Okay. Let me check the chat. Oh, let's get it. You think PayPal is going up? How often do you do this? I do this once a week, but I also do these lives on YouTube all the time on different topics. Now, this one's going to be a little longer because I wanted to kind of be like get ready for the market. Let's take a look at some stocks. Now, you mentioned another one, Tim's. This is one that got really popular because Nancy Pelosi bought a whole bunch of call options and shares. So it's looking like man, it's so crazy how the market does this, man. It will literally line everything up. Now, if we pull up the chart on this one, this is Tempest AI. This is another stock where you can see, all right, we're going into no man's land here in overbought territory. I want to let this cool off. Okay. And then look at this. Oh man, look at this sweet gap here. So we had a gap here, right? Boom, gap, boom, gap. Okay, boom. So it gapped up, created a gap. And what did it do? It came down here and closed this gap. Okay. So that's why you shouldn't chase stocks. Just let them close their gaps and, you can get in at some lower prices. Now, now we closed the gap here, came out of this area, saw the increase in volume, which is always a great sign. When you see an increase in volume, I like that. I like that. Let's see here. As this gapped up here, we got another gap here. So pay attention to this. It looks like the moving average for the 50 is moving lower. Oh, this ain't good. This is not good because the 50 just crossed the 200, which is a death cross. Let me zoom in on this. This isn't good. I mean, technically speaking, this isn't good, So this is from a technical point of view. This is the 50-day and this is the 200 and it just crossed it. So that's what they call a death cross. And it's got a gap down here. Let's see what option traders are trading. I don't know. They may have options on this right now. Let's pull them up. Let's see. Put call. So yeah, option traders are they're still bullish on this. But it did recover all of its moving averages, but it seems like it's been having a lot of these like waves. But look, the last time, so look, it was above here, and then the 50 crossed the 200, and this thing just dropped off. You know what I mean? So that's why I say be careful around that, because it's not that it doesn't have that much of a history. So potentially since it's already done a lot of trading in this range, maybe it can push higher. But one thing you want to look for confirmation here is to clear this level at 59, right? If we can't get a close above 59, this stock ain't going anywhere, right? I mean, this death cross right here will likely maybe send it to reclaim this gap that it created, which is right on the 20-day moving average. So, and this stock seems like it just swings back and forth. So I don't really like, I'm not trying to be Warren Buffett on the stock market. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't really trade stuff like this. I don't really pay attention. I don't even pay attention to stocks like that. I feel like the only thing I have that came out of the normal, like your blue chip type stocks, is your quantum stocks. But like that's because they're actually making moves, right? Like if this is the weighted alpha list, it's the top 100 list, and you can kind of spot like the outliers, the sort of movers in the market. So one thing, it's in a rank here, and you can see that previous rank can increase here. So you can see that Palantir is moving up. You got Rocket Labs is moving up, right? So you got some names you all have heard in the media quite a bit. But what I look for is names that weren't here at first, but then they hop up high on this list. So if you're scrolling this top list and anytime you see NA, that means it's new. So based on this, IONQ just popped up on this top 100 list out of nowhere, right? So that's significant, man. If you can see a stock doing stuff like that, that sector's got some momentum, right? And you have a lot of these stocks coming up with earnings. You got like, so if I click on IONQ here, you can see that they have earnings coming up on the 7th here. So you can go over to expected move and see what option traders are trading. So earnings coming up, and it looks like based on the option contracts, they're expecting, all right, 34 on the top side, 26 on the low end. You can see the last moves around earnings in the past. I remember one time on earnings, it dropped to like $14. And that was the first time I bought it. This actually bought it back in November because earnings was back there. And that thing dropped to $14 and I bought it, and y'all, it went to 50 some dollars. This is probably one of the quantum stocks changed my life, honestly. I was making so much money. Then this was the deep seek thing. I think this was the deep seek drop off, but I bought this dip. Now I've been taking some profits here as these little pullbacks right here. I was taking some profits because it was a small cap stock. So I was really taking some profits, and then this thing dropped off and I bought it again, and then it went back up again. So I've been watching these stocks closely. You can see the price range based on the expiration dates here as well. So if you want to know where people are trading, like I said, you go to the put call ratio. That way we can say, hey, okay, it looks like volume wise, they're trading a lot of calls here. Open interest wise, the market has been betting against this stock, right? I mean, you had an open interest of 1, right? So if you look here, the numbers that are popping up right here, if you look here, we had an open interest as high as 1, right? Which means that there was more puts than calls. So, and then, it's beginning to decrease as the stock continues to push higher. Okay. So we have earnings coming up. So I would keep this on watch. But like I said, if you want to know what people are trading, come down here and say that, all right, they seem to be pretty bearish. Okay. So, but I told y'all that here, they're holding a lot of puts against the stock. People are wanting this stock to fail. They're betting against it. They're thinking that maybe ginseng is right. Maybe quantum is 20, 30 years away. And, this needs some time to cook. So option traders are extremely bearish on this stock. With short-term expiration, when we look at days to expiration, the number of days until these expiration dates expire, you can see closer to expiration, they're more bullish. So they are expecting a breakout, right? But just past earnings, they're quite bearish, more bearish, more bearish, more bearish. Even in the future for this stock, it's almost neck and neck. right? They're trying to figure out, is this going to be that next thing, or this thing is just going to go back down, right? So I'm long here. I bought this stock. I have an average cost on like IONQ with like $22. So I'm chilling. Uh, but a lot of these quantum stocks are actually coming up. And if you want to know more about quantum stocks or any stocks, I'm not trying to call out certain stocks, but Barchart does offer these tools here. Okay. So you can go look at, let's say you want to look at more quantum stocks. You can get news on quantum stocks, which I love. Okay. Especially when you're keeping up with different contracts that these certain companies are getting. A lot of news has been moving these stocks, so keep a watch on these things. But you can sort them in percentage change. You can sort them in different types of things. You can go to technical stuff. We can see maybe you're looking for things that are oversold, right? So the ones that are a little lower. Now, like I said, I wouldn't go for all these things, okay? But if you want to track some bigger names like the Amazons, the Googles, the NVIDIAs, IBMs, all these are also great names. Honeywell is another name. That's a great name for long term. These are not recommendations, not financial advice. I'm just a cool dude showing you some stocks, okay? So bar chart makes it really cool for you to search these things, filter these things, and even set up alerts. So let's say you want to stay updated on quantum stocks or anything like that, Warren Buffett stocks, stagflation, semiconductor, anything like that. You can then put in different filters like, volume, uh, let's say market cap, let's say beta. Beta tells me how much a stock is going to be moving overall in relativeness to the market. Just kind of gauges volatility, right? Relative strength index. What's another one we can do here? Did I already do volume? Let's do price. And then we can do change. Last percent change. And maybe you want to look at dividends or something. I don't know. Dividend yield. So then you can search for certain things. Maybe we want mega and large cap companies. Maybe we'll do mid too, so we can get some names like the IONQs and stuff like that. And maybe you are looking for something in particular based on these things. But then these will just be your filters, and this will be how you'll view these stocks. So now you've set a filter for quantum stocks. Maybe you add in semiconductors too, just to get the whole AI quantum wave. But you want to focus on the larger names. And if you like smaller names, you can do micro, small, whatever you want, right? Beta tells me if it's a higher beta, it's a high mover, right? So we'll look at the results. You can then filter it based on dividend, based on the relative strength index. So these stocks are more overbought, right? They have a higher RSI. These are lower. So these stocks are essentially on sale. Look at this Amazon, baby. I like that. You can do it by market cap. So the size of these companies, Microsoft being the largest of these. You can also do it by volume. So which stocks are trading the most right now? So Amazon seems to be standing out to me. Let's go back to this. Let's look at oversold here. So if I look at oversold quantum and AI stocks, Amazon is pretty low on this list here. So let's take a look at it. I like Amazon. I actually bought some Amazon the other day, full disclosure. But it was like at 179. And I will tell y'all why. Earnings was coming up. Wait, yeah, let's put earnings on here. So earnings was coming up. And when I looked at the put call ratio, let's see here. One thing I noticed coming into earnings, let's put earnings back on here. So we got earnings right there. One thing I noticed was there was a lot of puts being held. Okay. Now, one might say that, well, wouldn't that mean that people are quite bearish? Well, I was like, well, look at where we're at. Like, we literally got rejected here. We got set back up on this bar from the past where it's obviously gotten some nice little pullback and tosses up, right? On this exact level. It's done it before. So I was like, man, this is the perfect level for this thing to pop back up for earnings. So like it dropped down below 180. So I was like, what's the worst thing that happened? Like freaking Amazon. I was like, Amazon might close this gap at like 176 or something, and I'll just buy more shares. And I think in aftermarket, maybe it did fall a little bit. And I bought more shares on that dip in aftermarket, and the thing just went even higher, right? So I think in aftermarket it did go lower, and I bought more shares in aftermarket with limit orders. But you may say the open interest is high, but why would that make me want to be bullish? Well, let's go take a look at this. And there's a couple other names on here, AMD. These are all technically lower on the RSI, okay? In comparison to everything else, like Google's on here as well. Full disclosure, I bought some Google down here for sure. I love Google to the death of me. So let's go look at what we were just taking a look at. Let's look at Amazon. Okay, so if we like Amazon from this list and we go over to the put call ratio, going into earnings, I saw this huge drop off in call volume or open put call ratio volume. Okay, so with it spiking down, that means that a large number of people are either selling puts or buying calls. I don't know which one, right? Now I can look and see. I can try to dissect all of this data and say that were they selling call or selling puts or were they buying calls, right? But the open interest let me know that there was quite a bit of people loading up on puts leading into earnings, saying that the stock was going to go down. So this is what my strategy was, right? So I know one thing, there's a lot of people holding puts, which means that there's a lot of money on the table to pay out people if the stock goes down, okay? But with that being said, that means that if there's not a lot of people trading, and you can also see that there was also a large volume in puts as well leading into this. So people were building these put positions. Oh man, my light went out. Hold on. Let me get another light. Let's see if this will work. Oh, that thing's bright, boy. Okay, so essentially, where can I put this thing? Oh, y'all got some technical difficulties. Next time I'll plug this light in. Let's see here. Y'all don't, I hope I ain't gonna lose you here on the put call ratio. We were just getting started. It's getting juicy. You just sit this over here. Okay. So we got the put call ratio here. And we can see that there was an increase in puts as well. So that means that put traders were not only holding these positions, but they were also seeming like they could be buying some more or trading more, right? Something's happening with puts. So then I was thinking to myself, man, if I see a sharp decline in this volume, or if I see the volume side decline to say that more people are trading volume into these calls, I'll buy some shares. I'll take the risk, right? And as it dropped in aftermarkets, like I said, I bought some more. But you can see here that there's way more calls now, right? So if you look at the 620 with 48 days to expiration, there's way more calls now, right? And you can see here, even on the call side, it's much lower than one, okay? Even in volume, right? So you can see that a lot more people are bullish, and there was a lot more money on the table to take from these bears that were holding these positions as well. So, you know, you really have to dissect it and say, what do I see here based on the price as well? And if Amazon's price is coming from a position where a lot of people were buying, and if they bought here, they're not looking to sell, well, where would the selling pressure come from then, right? So that's why I was bullish going into this particular setup. Same thing I saw with Tesla. Tesla, I saw something going into earnings where there was so many puts being held. Look at this, so many puts, and then this sharp amount of volume in calls. And I was just like, okay, Tesla stock is already down, and there's literally a ton of puts. They have to sell. Like there's only, I mean, for me, there was only one direction for the stock to go in on earnings because it was like, well, the stock is already down and there's people betting against it. Like, what are they doing? Right? Like you're building put positions going against this guy is right hand with the president. Do you not think he can get to the bag? I'm like, come on now. So I bought more share. I bought like 30 shares of Tesla, like right before earnings. But I'm nasty with it, man. I'm dangerous. Do not take my advice, but I take these risks. Same thing with Microsoft. I bought Microsoft before earnings. Just a lot of great stocks. Let me check the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. They do have options. Looks like it's bullish chims. Okay, earnings coming up. I think it will pass 60. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, Ken, I appreciate you being in here, man. And dropping some questions in here. I'm gonna close this out here and make sure I don't have any more questions. But this is essentially how I look for different tickers. Now, like I said, we got these earnings coming up within the next few days. So if you want to keep up with that, you can do it by clicking earnings within the next 7 days. So I can also say, hey, I can screen this list and say that, hey, I want to look at stocks with a certain volume, a certain market cap, right? And then I want, maybe I can throw the beta in here if I'm looking for something that's volatile, that'll move around earnings. RSI, because I want to know like where is it on the chart in terms of, relative to the past in terms of price. Let's see, what else can I add here? Let's see. We can do the options stuff we just talked about as well. So open interest. We can do total call open interest, or let's do the put call ratio. Put call. Type in put call. Hold on, where is it? Ratio. Where is it? Put call open interest ratio. Add, and then we can also do the put call. Let's do the ratio for volume. Yeah. Okay, and now we'll be able to see a few of the key things that I look for. Let's do price as well, and then we'll do percent change, just so we can see this data. Change, latest percent change, boom. What else can I put in here? So I want to do a minimum volume of 1 million. Let's make sure this is enough. Yeah, that's 1 million. Then I want to do mega and large cap. And beta, I just want to see beta, put call ratio. Maybe if you're looking for a particular setup, more bullish, more bearish, whatever it is. Less percent change, volume. Okay, cool. Let's see results. Now, let's sort this in terms of volume. So now I see the biggest names. Let me actually go back to this and add the earnings date. Most recent, latest earnings. Let's see here. Latest earnings date. Let's do it here. Now we can see results. And we'll see that these have the earnings coming up. Okay, so now I can put it in this order in terms of the earnings right here. So I'll see them in dates, or I can do it in volume. I can do it in size. So it looks like Tencent is one of the biggest companies reporting earnings coming up. Uber, Disney, AMD, a lot of different names. But where are people trading? Let's look at the volume. So Palantir is coming up tomorrow. Wow. So keep that on watch. Supermicron coming up on Tuesday. Remember, we have FOMC on Wednesday. Uber's coming up. Keep that on watch. Rivian can make some EVs move. A lot of great names, man. This is going to be a huge week. This is just half of the week. We know with Shopify coming up. Wow, Shopify can move. Let's look at the flip charts really quick. And when we look at it, if we put it in beta, let's see what moves the most. Like you can see Shopify and Palantir are high on beta, meaning that they move a lot, right? So if Shopify has earnings, that thing's going to move, okay? So let's look at the biggest movers. Let's just do that. How about that? We'll look at the biggest movers. So ARM, wow, looking for a potential breakout here from this level. Wow, keep this on watch, man. Arms looking like, man, if it can break out, let's put my template on real quick. This will be the last thing that I go over, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. Let's do RSI and the crossover indicator. Barchart has this moving average crossover indicator that gives you buy and sell signals based on certain moving averages. So you can set the moving averages in here. It's already preset on the 9 and 18, but you can change these based on what you want. Okay, so got a buy signal here. Looking for a potential breakout at 124 here on ARM. Now, all of these are big movers because I put this in order of beta. So this means that these stocks move more than the overall market, okay? So Affirm, let's see. And like I said, I like to come in here and do some charting. You can see here. Look at how is it that these things are literally almost like why does the market do this? It literally lines up everything. It's like, all right, let's put everything in the one same place, and like so nobody knows if price is going to get rejected or break out. Maybe we'll even break out and then do a liquidity grab in this range and then send the price back down. And like, God, the market, man. So I'm gonna probably sit on the sidelines and let these play out. Look at this. Same thing here, right? We have if we look at where price kind of pop right here, look at where we are right now. Rejected here. Look at where we are. Why is it that all of these are doing the exact same thing? Like the market has look at this. Breakthrough, retest, goes lower, came back. Breakthrough, retest, goes lower, came back. Breaks through, retest, came lower, came back. Dude, all of these charts, not even the same industries, still having the same setups across the chart. The market is crazy. Now, this one's got a different chart, but same idea. We're looking for a breakout from these past areas still. Doesn't matter if it doesn't have the same type of, it still kind of had its breakthrough and retest of this level. So it looks like this is a key level around here. So it's in this range. So let's say maybe it comes back here and then decides to go higher, or maybe breaks through that. Right. So what I like to do though is, man, come in here and do some charting. Chart these things, right? We want to pay attention to gaps. We want to pay attention to where did price get rejected? Where did it get support, right? Because these things are not a surprise, right? If we look back in the past and we look at where it got rejected here, it got some support here, and then boom, right on the dot, hit that. And I wasn't even charting that. I was charting this. Okay. So these things don't happen by surprise. So if we look at Shopify, I already charted this. So same thing here. We broke through, we retested, we came back. So it's so weird that all of these stocks are at the same level right now. We had a gap right here. We closed the gap. We had another gap here, closed the gap. So the stock market's looking for some breakouts here. We've got some bullish momentum in a lot of the stocks. Sure, they could go higher. I don't think there's much stepping in the way. Just look for a FOMC meeting coming this week. App Loving, a lot of different names setting up for some breakouts. Look at this, same thing here. If we look at the past support here, break through it, retest, came back right at this level. So it's so weird that the market does this. Is this not crazy? Is that not wow? Kev know what's going on, man. Kev, I appreciate you being here, brother. All right, man. That's it. This is how you find trades. It's and like I said, these are in order of big movers and beta. So look at this now. This one actually already did its breakout. So DoorDash is literally saying we're in our trend, bro. We are in our time. Okay. So look at this. So, and like I said, once you find, let's say you like one of these stocks, let's say maybe you're looking at, Palantir or something. I don't know. Like I said, always come to the put call ratio and get a feel for what option traders are trading. So right now they're extremely bullish. They're holding more puts against this stock. And looks like volume here seems to remain kind of steady. It looks like just nobody really cares almost. Like when you see the volume go sideways, it's like there's really no fight. There's no really like bears are winning, bulls are winning. It's just like nobody really cares. But the open interest is where you get this is where I am, right? Because the volume can change. The volume can go up, down, left, right. But the open interest is really what tells us what positions are people building, right? And so if we know that they're building these put options, right? The last time they did this, the stock came off of this, right? Now these puts got wrecked because and then they gave up, right? Once the stock kept going higher, they left. They were like, okay, forget this, man. But they came back right here in droves. So it looks like they're coming back here. So pay attention to this. Like I said, if you want to find out what your expiration date is, you can click on this, turn on the volume graph. You can see where people are trading, right? But stay away from these. These can expire really quickly. So if you're an option trader, that means you're losing value. But with high risk is high reward. So if you are an expert trader and you like that high risk, you feel like you know where the market's going to go, sure, by all means, do your thing. Just pay attention to the volume and open interest here. Okay. But if you want to buy more time, you can see here there's a lot of open interest on the January leaps. Looks like more calls than puts. And then let's say you want to trade, let's say something a little more closer. So 620, right? We see a lot of volume and open interest here. Then we go here. You can see the calls and the puts stacked, but you can see them side by side by doing this. That way we can see, I can kind of see where price is, right? So on the put side, it looks like they want price to go down to $95 or even 110. On the call side, looks like top side is 150 on the open interest, like where people are willing to place their bets, right? But there was a lot of volume. Now, we need to say if this is a decrease or an increase, because if this 698 was selling, then this is going to go down to 3,000 in open interest, meaning that people are closing their call positions. But we won't know that until the next day. So if you want to follow data like that, come over to, oh, let me show y'all one last thing too. Check this out. This is for premier members on Barchart. So if you want a free trial to this, I'm gonna drop a link in my bio. You can click that, get a free trial. But if you want to come in here and get trade alerts, you can literally get strategies right in here. So they had a buy that they have at 28 here, and you can come in and see like, okay, we had a buy signal here, and because of this moving average crossover, it has not crossed over yet, so it hasn't done a sell. So it's basing these on buys and sells of a particular strategy. So you can come in and look, this has been so far $10,000 in profit based on the trades that it's taking. It's buying and selling at these things, right? And like I said, you can pull up and see the chart from where it made these particular trades as well. So it'll show you different trades. But you can get these strategies and click on top trade alerts where you can come in here and say, hey, what is the trade alert for right now based on different moving averages that they have here. So when you click on, now this one's a little older. Let's go to this one. This one's based on the 20-day moving average. So you can see once it crossed that, it gave the signal for a bullish entry. Okay. So, and then if you want to see the history of this particular strategy, you can click on it and boom, here's your strategy. So right now this trade happened on 4/9 and it's already up 3,000 on this particular trade. So you can literally come in and get trades, entries, and exits with Premier. So it's almost a no-brainer to get these trade alerts from Barchart. That way it can help you guide you across the market. Now, there was one thing I was going to show y'all before I did this. Dang, what was it? I was showing the put call ratio and forget it. That's it. If y'all don't have any questions, I'm gonna go. I'm trying to do the 100. Let's do it, man. Hey, I hit six figures and I only started with 500, but it was a continuous investment over time and really locking in on the strategy that I use, which is really just focusing on extremes on the RSI, whether it's overbought or oversold. But I'm looking at the daily and weekly to line up so I can be a little more confident in that position. But I also trade leveraged ETFs, which give me a little more leverage in that position. So if something's going to move a particular asset or a market's going to move a certain amount, I can get leverage on that. So if you want to find different ETFs and leverage ETFs, you can come into the ETF finder. You can base it on equities, different strategies. Like let's say you're looking for, hedges or long, short, it'll pull these up right here as well. Now you can go here to the ETF screener as well. And let's say you want to do it by name. So you can click here and say name. And let's say you want to find, tickers that I know a lot of people like to trade Tesla, MSTR, stuff like that. So if you want to look for the ETFs that are leveraged on that, you can just type in the ticker name and you can search for it here. Okay. So Barchart has a lot of great tools that you all could use. I mean, the list goes on, but I'm not going to hold y'all long. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Make sure you smash that like button before y'all get up out of here, man. And always drop me a comment, share this information. If you learn something, let me know. If you want to learn something, let me know. If you got some other topics you want to talk about, just hit me in the chat and I will get back to y'all. If y'all need any links, just let me know. If you want any my opinion on anything, just drop the tickers. We'll pull them up on the next live. Make sure y'all go over to the YouTube and check out the previous live classes as well. So I've got a lot of the live classes that I've done based on some of the things that I go over pretty quick in these videos. So if you want the more in-depth breakdown of those things in particular, I got these short little classes, usually less than 25 minutes. Okay, I don't want to try to hold you long for these. I try to keep them as short and sweet and direct to the point. Okay. So y'all make sure y'all hit that follow button, like, and all that good jazz. And I will see y'all for the next one. Okay. I appreciate y'all being here. Can't thank y'all enough. We're going to keep doing this. So make sure y'all share it. And yeah, y'all be careful out there. Make sure y'all pay attention to what's going on. Not so much in the news, but what's going on